Good day to all, welcome to Extreme Recap. The initial scene happens in war-torn Iraq, where you can always hear gunshots and explosions. One of these cities, a U.S. team of bomb specialists, detects an IED, or homemade explosive, on display. As a result, the military quickly evacuates the area, and Sergeant Matt Thompson's bomb disposal unit takes charge. The bomb will be destroyed by an advanced robotic drone, which is their strategy. Sergeant Thompson is of the opinion that they can safely detonate the IED by employing plastic explosives. From a distance to complete the activity, a little truck is fastened to the rear of the robot drone, which is then dispatched into the area assigned for the blast. However, the trailer loses one of its wheels just before reaching the IED. Because of this, the operation fails completely. Presently, with time expiring, Matt chooses to review what is going on himself. He moves to the trailer in a bulky bomb suit. While Sergeant JT is the name of his two teammates, Owen, the specialist, and Stanborn, keep an eye on their surroundings from behind. Matt carefully assembles the trailer so that it can be transported to the IED. But as he gets back on his feet, Owen observes a man using a cell phone in a butcher shop. He wildly alarms Stanborn and surges towards the man, teaching him to drop the telephone. Sadly, however, the man quickly dials a particular sequence of numbers, which sets off the bomb's explosion. After the tragic death of their fellow soldier, poor Matt is instantly killed by this. Stanborn puts Matt's belongings in a casket and gets them ready to go home. He meets Sergeant William James, the new bomb disposal unit team leader, upon his return to the base. James is currently removing the plywood covers from his windows. James is advised by Stanborn to keep them on because of the danger posed by mortar shrapnel. However, James rejects the idea, claiming that the covers would be useless in the event of a mortar shower striking the units. When the unit receives a report of another IED on a narrow street in the city, it asks, why bother wearing a bike helmet if you could get hit by an asteroid the following day? When they get there, they meet another army platoon that found the bomb. They are informed by the platoon leader that the bombs are 20 meters down the street. Accordingly, James gets into a bomb suit and continues alone. Locals are observing the entire incident from their rooftops and windows. He throws a smoke grenade as James gets closer to the area with the bombs. His team members become agitated because they are unable to clearly see James when a car stops in front of him at an intersection, claiming it is for diversion, provoking him to point his weapon at the driver. The car is surrounded by other nearby soldiers, who tell the driver to get out. The identified individual, on the other hand, refuses to comply with their orders. Accordingly, James discharges a shot at the vehicle's front window, places his weapon against the man's brow and requests that he move the vehicle in reverse. Ultimately, the driver concurs and gets back, where he is captured and taken away by the other soldiers. Soon after, James goes over a gunnery shell concealed underneath a little heap of trash. Yet, she effectively incapacitates. He accepts that the assignment is finished, but quickly realizes that a secondary wire is pulling its connection out. He recognizes its connection to 6 additional bombs. He then goes about fearlessly disarming all of the bombs. James is secretly observed by an unknown individual during this time from a nearby building. The person also rushes down the stairs after observing his efforts to defuse the situation, with their mission successfully completed. James rejoins his colleagues and Stanborn encourages him to work on his correspondence during tasks and not treat his obligations as a performance try. James, on the other hand, disregards the advice without much thought. The following day, as James was leaving the military base, a young boy by the name of Beckham came up to him and offered to sell him DVDs. James agrees and purchases one from the boy's employer, despite repeated requests. Subsequently, the bomb crew is conveyed on another bomb defusing missions. This time, the bomb is in a car that has been illegally parked in front of a UN building while it is being evacuated. James dons the bomb suit and walks up to the car just as it gets close. A person in a mask who works in a nearby building fires at the car and quickly runs away. However, the individual's escape is short-lived as the soldiers swiftly capture him. James uses a fire quencher to extinguish the blazes and continues to look at the vehicle. While Owen and Stanborn expected their situations as a post in the following scene, James opens the storage compartment and finds a few mounted guns shells like the ones he experienced previously. It becomes clear that the explosive in the car is potent enough to cause widespread casualties, including his fellow soldiers, even if they seek cover, so after a few moments, he makes the decision to completely remove his bomb suit. Realizing that it provides no real protection, he decides to do so. As a result of this realization, James believes that getting rid of the suit will, at the very least, allow him to die in a more peaceful manner and will not make him appear to be an idiot. He then meticulously searches the vehicle for the trigger before disarming the shells, task that takes a lot of time. At a certain point, our hero finds it distracting when Stanborn uses a headset to communicate with James. As a result, he discards the device. In the interim, Owen and Stanborn noticed a few gatherings of Iraqis watching them from roofs in a minaret, including an individual who is recording their activities with a camcorder. James eventually finds the triggering device in the car and safely and successfully removes it, completing the mission. He then, at that point, gets back to his vehicle and lights a cigarette to loosen up, yet before long gets a punch from Stanborn for not recognizing him during the activity. "You bitch the next time you do that at Stanborn." Colonel Reed appears later that day. James was clearly impressed by his calm demeanor and capacity to handle such a stressful circumstance. James confidently responds with an exact count of 873 legendary when the colonel inquires about the number of bombs he has disarmed up until the state. The following day, the team goes into the desert to carefully detonate the explosives they've collected from previous missions. James realizes shortly thereafter that he left his gloves near the blast zone. So he drives back quickly to retrieve them. Stanborn considers setting off a bomb to kill James on purpose and pretend it was an accident while he is away. However, Owen is successful in persuading him to refrain from engaging in such unethical behavior. After completing their task, the group is returning to the city when they come across two parked SUVs containing a group of armed individuals. After getting out of the vehicle, Stanborn gives them orders to lower their weapons. The men consent. Additionally, one of them asserts that they are on the same side and reveals himself to be a British commando. The bomb squad agrees to assist him while repairing the tire after he asks for assistance with a flat tire. Unexpectedly, a man is shot in the back by a wrench. The group is surprised as gunfire emits around them. Immediately after, another British commander was killed while manning the Hummers, prompting everyone to seek cover. Assault rifle. On a small rocky hill, the British team leader pretends to be a sniper and begins to retaliate, aiming for a stone-built hut from which the enemy sniper and his group are firing. The leader, on the other hand, is fatally struck in the chest while adjusting the rifle's bipod by a sniper of the enemy. Stanborn takes over as the sniper after that, and James uses a powerful scope to help him find the enemy. Stanborn runs out of ammunition after firing multiple shots. As a result, Owen is given instructions by James to search the commando's pockets. Despite the fact that Owen finds a full magazine, the slugs appear to have become stuck because of the man's blood. Because of this, James steps in and whips at that sweet bow and bolt. He cleans the magazine himself, After that, James and Stanborn return to their positions and, eventually, defeat the adversaries one by one. The guys have a party later that evening at James's apartment, where they drink and playfully pound their chests. Stanborn discovers James's collection of parts from nearly every bomb he has disarmed during this time. James says that he keeps them as a constant reminder of the danger he will face on their next mission. Upon arrival, the bomb squad is accompanied by Colonel Cambridge to a building where materials for making bombs have been reported. Cambridge stays outside while the team searches inside the building. They find the materials used to make bombs inside, as well as evidence that the perpetrators have recently fled. James finds a young boy's lifeless body in one of the rooms with a large cut on his chest. James orders Stanborn and Owen to leave the building so he can examine the boy's body for bombs, and upon closer inspection, he recognizes him as the earlier little seller. At first wrecked by distress, James at last controls himself and continues to take apart the kid's midsection, retrieving plastic-covered explosives. The boy is then taken outside and loaded into a car by him. In the interim, Cambridge proceeds with his endeavors to clean local people off of the encompassing region. James calls to him and tells him to get in the car. However, Owen struggles to accept Cambridge's death and wanders aimlessly in search of him when another improvised explosive device suddenly explodes and kills him. However, James is successful in reaching him the following day. James talks to the merchant who used to work with Beckham. He asks where Beckham is and where he is. Suspicious that he might be disclosing confidential information, the merchant denies ignorance by asserting that he does not speak English. James makes the decision to act, so he insistently climbs into the truck of the merchant and orders him to drive toward Beckham's house. What does the terrified man respond to? Andy drops James at the area before hurriedly escaping. After going into the house, James finds a person in the kitchen who seems terrified, however shockingly inviting. He asks for information about where Beckham is, but the man doesn't know. James realizes at this point that the merchant has led him to the wrong location. He comes across the man's wife as he is about to leave, and she becomes enraged and begins to judge him for his intrusion. James makes his way back through the city toward the military base, passing a lot of locals who, upon reaching the main gate, appear to be visibly upset. He refers to himself as an American soldier and fabricates a lie. Later that evening, he claimed to have visited a haunted house. A call is made to the team to look into a different location where a bomb went off. As they get there, they find that a bomb, logical from a self-destruction B, exploded close to an oil big hauler truck, bringing about the passings of a few occupants. James spends some time evaluating the blast area's perimeter, demonstrates that the bomber did not carry out the unimaginable. James, however, vows to find the bomber and orders his companions to conduct separate searches in nearby alleys after he instead triggered the explosion from a location outside the perimeter. Filled with anger, James and Stanborn hear a gunshot shortly thereafter from Owen's location. Therefore, they rush to his aid. They witness two unidentified men drag Owen away. They respond by following the kidnappers and firing at them, killing them immediately. James, on the other hand, accidentally shoots Owen in the leg amid the chaos. Owen expresses his resentment toward James for accidentally shooting him in the morning when Stanborn and James meet him at the helicopter that is about to take him to the hospital. Owen says that his femur is broken and that it will take several months to recover. Additionally, he criticizes James for putting his teammates in difficult situations solely for this reason. Rescuing oneself. After that, the scene cuts to another mission, where James and Stanborn arrive to find a lone man standing alone in the middle of a large plaza with his body padlocked and a number of bombs, pleading for mercy, highlighting the fact that he has family. James moves toward the man and finds that the bombs have a brief clock. He tries to cut the locks frantically, but acknowledges that there are simply too many. James is forced to make an apology to the man and run away as a result. The bomb explodes a few seconds later, killing the man and propelling James away. Fearing that James has experienced the same fate as Mad, Stanborn rushes to the scene. Fortunately, he is only stunned, and during the drive back to the base, he eventually regains his composure. James confides in Stanborn, who is still shaken by the incident, expressing his concern that he would die in Iraq without ever experiencing marriage or parenthood. James consoles his friend in response, reassuring him that he will return home and have the chance to start a family unless his deck is destroyed with a bomb. At last, the group's revolution reaches a conclusion, and James gets back to his home and family. However, he struggles with civilian life's simplicity and finds it difficult to adjust. He ought to give Twitter a shot at settling disputes. He would instantly feel at home. Consequently, he decides to return to Iraq. Nobody educated him regarding Twitter. In the last scene, James is portrayed as a feature of an alternate bomb removal unit, and he goes on another mission, proceeding with his enthusiasm for defusing bombs and saving lives. Turn on notifications, please subscribe for more videos like this, and like the channel to support it. Thank you very much for watching.